What's up everybody, my name's Big K and welcome back to another Hot Toys unboxing video. And today we are talking about the 1/6 scale Hot Toys Hawkeye Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye TV show. And this is obviously the depiction of Hailee Steinfeld on the front cover there. And boy, oh boy, does she look beautiful. The purple with the yellow pop of the lettering on the box looks really good. And, you know, swing around to the side, just the different shades of purple. We have lighter purple with a darker strip of purple with the yellow logo on the bottom and top. The Hawkeye logo, legal information around the back. And same thing around the side with the bow creeping a little bit onto the side of the box. But yeah, her bow is not like a black and sleek bow, it's a big wooden bow. You know, she's still kind of figuring out the Hawkeye-ness, but she is a pretty great archer, so yeah, she gets the job pretty quick. But let's slide off the top and take a closer look at this figure. Woo! Now, I haven't taken a look at this one myself in hand. You know, I just cut the tape a second ago, but you see the quiver there, some arrows. I like this a lot. Yeah, let's pop this open. Oh, actually, some different art on this. You see Kate Bishop logo on the side. It says Hot Toys presents Kate Bishop 1/6 scale collectible figure. And it has Hawkeye and Kate Bishop on the back with Lucky as well. And honestly, when they come out with the Jeremy Renner purple version suit, you know, more like a comic book accurate suit for Jeremy Renner from this Hawkeye TV show, honestly, they need to throw Lucky in, because having them next to each other with Lucky would just feel right. But having Ronin Hawkeye next to Kate Bishop Hawkeye also feels pretty right, because at one point in that show she also steals the suit and puts that on. So maybe I'll have to put the Ronin hood onto the Kate Bishop outfit and see how that looks. Has anyone done that? Comment below. But yeah, let's pop this bad boy open. Alright, popped off the top. We got, looks like some purple arrows or silver arrows, depending on which type of, what is the little feathers at the end called? The feathers? It's like plastic nowadays, but yeah, 6 different arrows, 6 different tips. None of them look too crazy. A couple normal ones, maybe one that looks like the arrows explode out of it, a green one, a blue one, a sharper, spikier, longer, skinnier silver one. Who knows? Maybe you attach all of these tips onto these different arrows. Maybe you attach one at a time. She can only have fire one arrow at a time, right? So there's that. Let's take a look at that bow. Ooh. Ooh, very cool indeed. I'm gonna have to look up how to hold this friggin' thing. I want to say it's like that, and the bow, and the arrow goes right there. Been a long time since I've done some archery myself. My sister had a bow just like that when we were kids, and if the string ever fell off and you had to restring it yourself, nightmare. Nightmare indeed. But yeah, she comes out with some swap out hands, a couple, it looks like 3 different rights, 3 different lefts. Some of the hands come with like the you know, the grabbing of the arrow to pull back. I guess you can put the bow and arrow in either one of her hands, but I would probably put them in the proper hands, right? Like, because you can't put the bow and arrow in either one of the hands for Hawkeye, because Jeremy Renner's a lefty, so it has to go in his right, because he has to pull back with his left. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like there's only one proper way to do it. In the picture here, it shows her holding it with her left and pulling back with her right. So maybe she's a little opposite from Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. Kate Bishop herself is probably also, or you know, Hailee Steinfeld's probably a righty in real life. But yeah, a cute little quiver. A little bit of pink frills at the top, even though they're like fake plastic, but you know, they kind of look purplish, frillish. But yeah, let's take out this figure. I am seeing smaller wrist pegs, which might be a nightmare for swapping the hands in and out. The last small woman hand peg figure I had was Black Widow from the snowsuit from the Black Widow movie. And you know, as much as that suit looked really cool, it kind of sucked because I couldn't get the figure into different poses like I wanted her to. You know, every time I had to swap out the hands, it drove me up a wall. I was like, this is nuts. Why is anyone doing this? You know, like it was just crazy. But yeah, so let's pull out this figure and take a closer look at her. Ooh, pop that off. Oh, can't necessarily take a closer look at her because I'm gonna have to take the head off to take all the plastic off. But wow, wow, a couple different arrowheads slotted on her like waist belts. That's kind of cool. Kind of look like miniature versions of the arrowheads it comes with. Yeah, it's actually exactly. So the 6 arrows in this kit are the 6 arrows on her waist belt thing, but they're slightly smaller because, you know, they were the arrow sized on her belt. They probably would be a little too cumbersome for her to like pose and be able to move around. But I can't wait for Hailee Steinfeld's Kate Bishop to show back up in the MCU, and maybe with like a gun, you know, not just a bow and arrow. Maybe she's got a gun. Maybe she's been training with Yelena a little bit. Maybe she's fighting, kicking ass. Maybe she linked up in New York with her and now she's like teaming up with the new Avengers. Or maybe she's mad at Yelena for being the new Avengers and she's like, nah, I'm gonna be with Clint. Interesting though, most of the time the figures come with fists on their body already. This one comes with just kind of 2 relaxed hands. But yeah, I like that it has like multiple different shades of purple. Like there's a darker purple down the sides, there's a darker purple down the front, slightly lighter purple on the logo, and then an even different shade of purple, more like a violet on the arm, but it's like this rubber spandexy material with the logo, then like a darker purple arm on the left with the shoulder pad. She's got the wrist bracing for when like the string, she like lets go of the string, it doesn't like nail her wrist and mess her up. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, why would she have that? I was like, oh yeah, I guess. The string's traveling quite fast. You don't want to get that slapped up against your wrist. That would hurt like a big itch. But also there's some plastic around her hair sculpt, the little strap that goes around the back to house the bow or the quiver. Oop, her thigh holster strap, which is very loose for some reason. I'm sure once you get that into a pose it will be a little bit tighter, but it seems to go back on quite easy. You know, I do like darker colors, so the purple, I was a Shashin tech out of Borica, so the purple color scheme kind of feels like hometown colors for me, or home team colors. But Hailee goddamn Steinfeld, oof, if there was a woman I was in love with in Hollywood right now, it would be Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh, but Hailee Steinfeld is right around the corner, let me tell you what. And honestly, I'm a little hurt at Hailee because she just married a Buffalo Bill, and like, I'm happy for her, but a Bill? Josh Allen? I mean, if there was going to be any Bill that she could marry, and it would have to be the QB of the team, right? QB1. Shout out Josh Allen, shout out Hailee Steinfeld, congratulations. But like, Hailee, I had no chance, but I love you, babe. I hope she comes back as Hawkeye, but let's pull everything that comes with Hailee and Kate Bishop, Hawkeye 1/6 scale figure from Hot Toys. Let's pull all of her accessories out of the box, and in the next shot I'll show you everything she comes with, all her accessories laid out on the table, and I'll give you a closer look at the Hailee Steinfeld, Kate Bishop head sculpt and figure herself in the next section. All right, so all of Kate Bishop's accessories laid out in front of us. We have, first we'll look at her quiver. It does attach onto her back by those clips. It does have this little detail on the edge there. Does it have any fine detail? No, it's just kind of like a button, but it has like this purple kind of frilly look like material, but it's just hard plastic, and just hard plastic material for the quiver itself. But yeah, not bad. That will store these arrows. We'll look at those next. The arrows, you can see they come with 3 silver tips, 3 purple tips. I'm not sure why there's different color tips. And then it comes with 6 arrowheads. Each are different. 2 of them are normal, just pointy, stabby arrowhead. But you have enough arrows that you can put each one of those arrowheads on. I haven't yet tried to do that yet because I have big old fat fingers, so that's going to be nice and difficult for someone like me. But once I get those all on, I'm pretty sure you put the arrows in the quiver without the arrowheads on them. but I guess I'll try either way to see if you can do all of them in there, but I don't know why you would want to either way. It does come with 2 extra wrist pegs if you break any, or these might be like different. Those ones might be like all swivel and this might just be like one way. So they might be stiffer, who knows. But it does come with 2 arrow grabbing hands for either side, 2 fist hands, 2 arrow pulling hands that you can use on this bow here and just ever so perfectly grab the bow. The bow string does pull and have that effect, so if it is pulled, it looks like there's some tension on the bow itself, which is just a nice touch. But yeah, nice little bow, nice wood material. You can see like the wood grain, if I can get a good shot of that. Yeah, nice wood grain, kind of like it was like a wooden bow. That was like her, I don't know, championship childhood bow or something like that. She'll probably get an upgrade when we see her next in the future. I hope we end up seeing Lucky and Clint from the Hawkeye series as well, coming from Hot Toys. But not bad. Now let's take a closer look at this base. I don't have the plastic peeled off yet, but they do have some plastic on it. But you can see Hawkeye logo on there. It is shiny on the purple side, a little bit more grippy on the off back side. And that is supposed to be what, Kate Bishop with the arrow over her shoulder, or like the bow holding over her shoulder. Not bad. Kate Bishop on the front, not too much else. But it does come with a crotch pull rather than a flight grabber, like a waist grabber. I do like these way better, so we'll see how useful we can make this and see what kind of poses we can get her in. But let's take a look at Kate Bishop herself. All right, Kate Bishop in hand. She looks phenomenal. The pants feel like this nice, like silky, soft material. There is a little bit of purple detail in there that you can see more in person rather than on camera. This pouch is loose, so you can adjust that if you're having struggles posing. You know, it is movable or removable. If you don't like it, you can take it off completely. She's got like these split boots that when she moves, there is some painted zipper underneath. That's a nice little touch, so you can cover it, and then if it's moved, it still kind of has the zipper effect, but not bad. I do love how tight you can get her arms down to her waist, like even more. Like that's quite nice. It feels like sometimes your figures are like their arms are bent and they're like, oh, I'm trying. But like, you know, they don't like naturally just resting down by their side. These kind of open, maybe grabbing grip, but also kind of just relaxed, maybe getting ready for a fight hands. Just got alerted by something, but you can see the different colors, the darker, deeper purple, the faux zipper, the belt, the slightly lighter purple, or like a, you know, almost even blue Hawkeye logo, then the Hawkeye logo with just like this violet purple, then like more of a deep grape purple, I guess, or maybe that's that color, but you know what I mean? It's all these different shades of purple. Even this edge is kind of a different shade, and I never realized how many different shades there were. But you know, in person you get a better understanding. There is that wrist pad on that left arm for the bow holding arm, not bad. Even on her butt, she kind of has a Hawkeye logo. You see that in the stitching? That's a decent little detail. I didn't even realize. Nice tread on the bottom of the boots as well. Articulation. Back to there. Forward to there. Not bad. Split to there. Not bad. Arms can go way deep because you're going to have her like pulling bows, you know what I mean? Like, you can have her way up, butterfly at the shoulder, scratching face. This is one of those characters that, like, the moment I saw her, I was like, yes, tremendous. I love everything about this character. Hailee Steinfeld, the way she played her, you know, like she's kind of awkward, kind of embarrassing, kind of dope, kind of funny, absolutely a legit archer, you know what I mean? Like crazy. Some people don't love, oh, that right there, that the hair is on like a ball peg, but I think when the quiver's on, it kind of needs to be, or like it would just get, you know, weirdly out of the way, you know, like, so at least now with the ball peg, you can kind of have it at whatever angle with the quiver on, and then kind of have it where you want. You can also turn the head more with the ball peg. So I don't mind this. There's some figures that, like, there was details on the back, like the Black Widow. There's details on the back, but the hair was just so stiff that you're like, oh, cool, I'll just never see those details ever again. Wonderful. But yeah, you just kind of ball peg into the back end of the head. But yeah, she's kind of got these nice details on the hair where like the hair comes down beneath the jaw. Like kind of these inside ones curl like right underneath her chin. I don't know if they're meant to be like that or if that's just mine, but I kind of remember in the show kind of having that vibe. And the Hailee Steinfeld likeness is unbelievable. Like the hairs down the side of the head, the eyes, the lips, the little cut on her chin. It's really spectacular. I love this fig. And the 6 arrowheads you get, I pointed out earlier, are the 6 arrowheads on her thing. So that's this cool little detail, little extra touch there. But yeah, let me try and get this bad gal into some poses and see how hard it is to get these wrist pegs and these hands on and off. I'm quite curious if it's going to be, you know, because this is a newer figure than, say, Black Widow's suit that I did recently, and I don't have many other female character figs to go off of. But the same with Wanda and Black Widow's wrist pegs were really tough to get on and off, and I wasn't able to get as much posing out of it as, say, a Deadpool or even like the Captain America or any of the Spider-Mans, where they pose and they go together quite easy and the pegs and the hands come on and off. But yeah, this so far, look and feel just sitting in hand, and the head sculpt, aces all around for this figure from Hot Toys for me. But yeah, let's see if we can't get her into some dynamic poses. So I haven't gotten her hands off yet, but I did want to show just a basic kind of neutral pose with this hand, you know, still gesture. And the fact that she is pretty sturdy. You don't necessarily need the crotch grabber to stand her up, although I feel much safer when they do have the crotch grabbers, that they're not going to fall over. Where right now on my top shelf up there, I have Shang-Chi, Vision, and Wanda without crotch grabbers, and you know, they're sturdy. They haven't fallen yet. But I also have Spider-Man, the stealth suit, the Night Monkey suit from Spider-Man Far From Home over there without a crotch grabber. And that poor bastard has fallen over a few times. Luckily, no damage, but, you know, scares me every time. But Kate Bishop looking pretty good here, but I did want to show the hands. The hands do go on quite well on the bow, and it does match up quite well on the backside there. You're like, yeah, no, that fits quite well. And it, you know, doesn't feel like so crazy getting it on. You know, the fingers pry open pretty easily. And then you have this opposite finger here for pulling the string, and they do kind of have slightly different designs, you know, but, you know, right, left, and very cool indeed. The quiver also, you can get them in there with all the arrowheads on, but it doesn't fit quite well, and you're gonna have to, you know, kind of force them to get in and out of there, and, you know, you might lose one, which kind of sucks. But I have made the story choice that if they were all going to be attached all at once, because you have 6 tips, 6 arrows, so you know, you can attach them all at once. The silver tips are for the more normal arrows, and the purple tips are for the special ones. And just a closer look at those, you have like the one that could explode into a bunch of different little tips. That green one I'm saying is like the gas one, and like gas comes out of those 2 ones there. And then this one could be like construed as like the Pym Tech arrow, but I don't know, that one's just maybe blue. What would blue be? Maybe it's like the thing grows or shrinks, I don't know. Or maybe it just is huge and it just stabs the hell out of you. It is quite pointy and sharp. But then the silver arrows, I have just 2 normal ones, and then you can see how much longer and pointier the last one is. But yeah, I figured those ones look good on the silver, and yeah, not too bad. But yeah, if you want to pop those off, they're not too bad. You just kind of pop and it comes off. So I think in the quiver, they all sit better without, you know, and they actually sit a little bit too far down. I almost like them with a little bit of the height, you know, so you see a little bit more, but maybe this is how they're supposed to sit, a little bit further down. But I don't mind how they were sitting. Maybe I'll leave the silver ones on and leave the purple ones. But with none of the tips on and all of the arrows in her quiver, they do fit kind of perfect. So they do jingle a little bit, but you know, they're not like locked in secure. But you know, the purple's almost kind of like purple clear, but the silvers are kind of like painted silver. But yeah, not bad. And then you can see where she attaches on the back by those two little holes. Now, this is the type of pose that I would probably leave this character in. But before I get into other poses that I can do with this character, I kind of want to do something fun and try out this Kate Bishop with the Ronin outfit on. She did briefly wear it in the Hawkeye series and get herself into trouble wearing it. And that's why Clint has to step in because Clint's the Ronin. But yeah, I kind of want to see what this Kate Bishop figure looks like wearing the Ronin top. And I do have the Ronin Hawkeye as well, so stay tuned tomorrow for the Ronin Hawkeye Deluxe unboxing coming out. But yeah, let's toss Kate into that Ronin look and see what that's looking like. So I got her close. I didn't fully zip up the front, but I just wanted to show you that you could put the jacket on Kate Bishop. She doesn't look that bad in it, actually, with the black pants. But with the purple arms, you're kind of like, yeah, this doesn't work so well. But, you know, it's just kind of funny that you can put the Hawkeye Ronin outfit on Kate if you so wanted to. And maybe if you had, like, I don't know, swap out arms or something. But I don't know if these arms so easily can just pop out, you know what I mean? It's not like they're shoulder joints, really. But yeah, so a decent look for her in the Ronin outfit, but definitely not the one I'm going to be going with in my collection. But let's toss Kate Bishop in a couple other poses. All right, so a couple of poses here for Kate Bishop. We have her with her bow and arrow ready, but standing in a relaxed way. You know, just ready, but, you know, not aiming down at a target. And then her next pose, we have her running and kind of reaching back and grabbing for her next arrow from her quiver. And then we have her fully aiming down her sights and pulled back arrow ready to fire. And I think this is definitely the best pose, and the way that you can adjust the hair. At first I was like, ah man, this stupid hair and the ball peg in the back doesn't work and it keeps falling out. But, you know, when you have her fully aiming left and her head turned pretty much all the way left, and now the hair can sneak back behind the quiver on the other side of the quiver, you know, like little things like that, you know, like how hair probably would actually react and not just stuck looking forward like some of these other figures. And, you know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend leaving her with the bowstring pulled back for a long period of time, especially extra stressing it, you know, because your bowstring might break and that would be unfortunate. And, you know, and I don't think they sell extra bowstrings. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they do. Maybe you could just put a string on there yourself, but I don't know. You know, I definitely wouldn't want to break it, but I think this is how I'm going to have it posed for a while myself on the shelf. But I think she does look definitely like Hailee Steinfeld and does capture Kate Bishop quite well from the Hawkeye TV series. But let's toss her next to some of her companions that she might meet along the way and some other Marvel 1/6 scale figures. But let's toss her next to Clint and see what she looks like next to the real Hawkeye. So you got our girl Kate next to our boy Clint, and he does look actually really good with just that endgame head sculpt and just like his endgame fit, and not even fully Roninized, but, you know, just holding his bow in kind of a neutral stance with just fists, like he's angry, but he's just chilling either way. You know, he's not necessarily getting into action. To me, this pose that Clint's in there almost looks like the scene from Civil War where, you know, we haven't met yet. I'm Clint. I don't care. You know, in Black Panther, and then later in Avengers Endgame, Clint, give the gauntlet to me. And he hands it over to Black Panther, and he does remember his name, and it's like, ah, so he did care. But yeah, man, if Hawkeye dies or if they don't bring Clint back and they should pay Jeremy Renner all the money for season 2. But, you know, they definitely, like, Clint is not done yet, man. Like, I know Kate's supposed to be the new Hawkeye, but I want Clint to be around for a while, you know? Like, he's our like human level way to get into these Avengers movies, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody can be Spider-Man, like our next figure comparison. But if you guys want to see more of that Hawkeye from Avengers Endgame, there will be an unboxing video coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, and we'll get a full look at him in his Ronin outfit in that video. But let's toss 2 other figures and compare them next to Hawkeye Kate Bishop. Definitely some people I could see interacting in the future would definitely be Tom Holland Spider-Man and maybe a Hawkeye Kate Bishop. You know, they're on the younger side of things for the MCU heroes. And, you know, not necessarily young Avengers like teenagers, but, you know, not necessarily Chris Evans, Thor, or Iron Man ages either. You know, like they're more in their 20s, 30s. You know, like there's quite a few of them now, you know, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man's daughter, Elena, you know, like there's quite a few that are now at the point where they're not necessarily old Avengers, but they're kind of young. You know, I'm thinking there's going to be this new team of kids, like, and they're not necessarily kids, but they're on the younger side of things, but they're got to act like adults because the adults aren't acting like adults, you know what I mean? But I don't know if Tom Holland will ever wear a Night Monkey, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stealth suit-esque again. You know, he'll probably get to the point where he's wearing like a Venom suit, that type of black suit, before he's ever wearing a suit like this again. But that is definitely not the head sculpt that figure comes with. You can see the head sculpt with the goggles down the bottom right corner. But I just loved how that head sculpt looked on this stealth monkey suit. So I left them like that. But yeah, not too bad, side by side of characters that I would love to see interact with each other. But let's toss somebody that it might be more comparable to Kate Bishop height-wise. So Kate Bishop is taller than Black Widow here, but in real life, Natasha Scarlett Johansson is 5'3", and Hailee Steinfeld is 5'8", so maybe that 5 inches is that there, and that height difference is that drastic. But seeing these two next to each other, doesn't this just make you want to see Kate Bishop and Yelena back together again? I mean, they were kind of fighting against each other in Hawkeye, but I don't know. They had such good chemistry together, and like, just 2 badass women that are like not super powered, you know, two normal human being women that are badass and just like, you know, can take a punch and take a beating. And same with Natasha, Black Widow, you know, like she could take a punch and just put the body on the line for the cause. And, you know, I love that white snowsuit Black Widow, and I'm not in love with the head sculpt or the hair, but, you know, I would be dying to get another Black Widow with, you know, a more brighter, redder hair, you know what I mean? Or even like the Infinity War Black Widow or something like that. But I do have Thunderbolts Yelena ordered and on the way, so I'll eventually be able to get Yelena next to Kate Bishop and Hawkeye and, you know, her sister Black Widow, you know, and that will feel right. But yeah, Kate Bishop next to Black Widow here. This is probably how they'll look on my shelf, so I'm not going to go grab a shot of that. So I guess that's it for today's unboxing of Kate Bishop from Hawkeye, the TV series on Disney Plus, and Hailee Steinfeld's. It looks pretty damn good, pretty spot on. I do like the head sculpt. I do like this figure quite a bit. I just dying to see this character return in the MCU. But if you guys want to talk more Marvel with me, please message me on my other social medias. Links for those down in the description below. And if you've made it this far in the video and you'd like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is liking this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future Hot Toys unboxings and you get the notifications when those come out. And once again, my name's Big Cam. Thank you all for coming on by and clicking on this video and staying this far. And it really means the world to me. And I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace.